Hello.
Are you scared yet?
It
It's almost Halloween.
is. I'm scared of all the things I have to do to be prepared for Monday. So,
Especially with 3 kids. Mine now will just like throw something on.
ah,
So Nathaniel, well, I was telling you, Nathaniel's going to be a minor. I don't know where he got the idea, but that's what he wanted to be. So they have a little party at school today. By the way, you're going to hear my pressure cooker. I just realized through the whole thing, hopefully we don't have breakfast at Tiffany's. But
as long as it's not gas.
no, it's an Instapot. You can't really screw it up too much. But if I could, I would. So Nathaniel's going to be a minor, and asked my dad the other day, would you happen to have a hard hat with a flashlight on it? He's like, I'll be right back. Where would you go for a hard hat with a flashlight on it?
Nice.
So then Tim's going to borrow that. We're not going to tell what we're going to be.
Oh,
Later.
Nice.
Next week. How about
I'm
you?
not going to say what I'm going to be because there's a chance that outfit doesn't get, ready by tomorrow.
And then you wing it.
Then I'll see what I have.
Yes.
Horror Stories Part 3.
I've got one.
Ah, okay.
So if you have been through a transaction with us, everything stamped everywhere in the bottom of every email we send is the big warning about wire fraud. So there are people, mean, evil people, who have targeted our industry, and in their evil genius, they have figured out how to hack transactions. And they email clients, they email buyers and say, here's where you need to wire your money. So this lovely young family who had saved up $125,000 wired it to, what was that ad, Peggy, in Russia somewhere.
That is so heartbreaking.
It is devastating. They lost $125,000. As I was just reading the article the other day, and as of that publication, they had not been able to get it back. And sometimes people have been able to, but most of the time, if it's not quick, if they don't notice it right away, it's gone. And
it's just kind of like anything out there, right? I mean, it any type of deceitfulness, crimes, there's only so many sources out there to help, and that's what these criminals do. They figure that they'll play the odds game.
Yep.
And $125,000, especially if you're coming from a country that, $125,000 is nothing to sniff at here.
Yeah.
It's decidedly nothing to sniff at in some other countries. I mean, that's like they leave that country and never to be seen again,
Yeah. And they get that for, however long it takes them to hack in, find out who the title company is, copy a few things and send an email. And they're getting better grammar. So it's not as easy to spot them.
Dear sirs.
These days.
Please.
Yeah. Please only find the money for wiring to me at.
Yes.
So that's a big problem. And we've heard of several stories of that happening. Thank God. We have not. Our attorneys are really good about explaining things thoroughly, but in the chaos of the move, etc. Yeah. Amy gets chills every time she explains it. It is just horrifying. And so that was a family that can't buy this house now and move out of their house, and probably can't buy the one that they were going to buy. So it also affects lots of people along the way in the transaction. Right. So when we blast that everywhere, it's in red at the bottom of our emails, and yep. and you sign a document, and we tell you about it, and we remind you about it, and so will the attorney, and so will the title company, and so will everybody, the lender.
I mean, call
Just,
us.
really
Really, the answer is you get to, you know, whenever you get it, even if it looks like it's the person you've been talking to, feel free to call your attorney, call us, call the title company.
Yeah. Don't call the number in the
Don't
email.
call on
by
the
the way.
numbers on there. No, go to a previous email or a previous correspondence and make sure that it is correct, because I would much rather take 500 calls from you going, are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, I put another number in. Okay, is that the correct number? Yes, please.
Yeah. And usually I think it's someone from the title company that will go over the details with you. So,
but again, this, you know, we're talking Illinois, where we
right.
have an attorney, where
exactly.
we have a title
it's going to
company.
be a little bit different wherever you are. And especially if you
Yes.
don't have an attorney, you're not going to have another person to help walk you through it.
Correct.
So do you have any?
Yes. So this is something I just heard about recently. And I have a feeling that it will be a problem in the future, as people might, you know, if people stay tight with money right now. And this is basically, and unfortunately, it is, so far it's legal. That's the bigger problem, is that technically right now, no courts have said that this is illegal. But there is a real estate firm, or a few out there, that is offering cash to homeowners. And they're saying, you want $500, you want $5,000, you want $2,000, whatever the number might be. Do you need cash right now? All you have to do is say that you'll sell with us. Now, you don't have to sell right now. You don't have to sell 6 months from now. We're just asking that when you go and sell, you sell with us. And you might be there for another 5 years. You might be there for a year and a half, but you've never heard of them before. You've never heard from them since, and you don't know how they do business. Well, and so then you're like, well, I don't know who they were, or you might have even forgotten, because it's been 3 years and you didn't know that you forgot you need that $1,500 back then for a car repair. And so you now hire somebody like us that you know, like, and trust. You know, we know the neighborhood, or we know that we'll do a great job for you. We have a great marketing plan. And so you call us, or you call, and you get to the part of the transaction. It's towards the end. So you've been under contract for a month, 5 weeks, something like that. And they do a title search. And they find out there's this lien on your house, or a lien. Basically, your title's not clear. You don't have the ability.
To the tune of 3%.
They have put, so whatever your sales price, if it was $300,000, you're selling your house for $300,000, you owe them $9,000 to clear that title. Oh, and guess what? It's delayed now. You have weeks to try to work with them. Maybe you could try to negotiate with them. Maybe not. And
so your agent who did all the work is, you know, also you have a contract with them.
And the buyer's agent.
And the buyer's agent. And now you have this third party horning in. And I've seen it happen, Danielle, or heard of it happening with heirs, where they go to sell a house, hire the trusted agent that their dear departed wanted to have sell their house.
Or they knew somebody else, because they just got to get it done.
And through the process, they find out that this deal was made years and years earlier. And everybody in the transaction is screwed. So oftentimes that buyer gets lost, transaction falls apart, and then you are stuck starting all over again with their appointed agent who you have no relationship with and no.
And now you're starting a relationship on being forced. You're not trusting them. You're probably bitter the whole time. Then it makes the transaction so bad. So really, it's something, you might be, as Ruth just said, you might be sitting there going, I would never do this. That's ridiculous. Or I would never find, we're comfortable in our finances or anything like that. But don't you think these people are probably, focusing on others who don't understand, maybe the elderly?
Yeah. And that's who I've really seen kind of preyed on in this scheme. I'm going to call it a scheme, even though, as you say, it has been ruled to
be legit and not illegal.
Agreeing to.
Yeah.
So then the last one, real quick, heading through the transaction. Thing seems good. And a week before closing, buyer ghosts everyone. So just disappears, stops answering calls from all of the people involved, and is just gone. Now, can you sue the person once you find them? Sure, everybody in the transaction can. So if you're a buyer, it's a really bad idea to do something like this. But in the meantime, again, messed up everybody's lives. So sellers packed up, ready to go, not moving. The people whose house they're buying, not moving. People buying their house, not moving. They don't know why the buyer did this, but could have been. But there is always a better way than just disappearing from everyone. So that was a horrifying story of our colleagues.
Even if something changes, I mean, I know years and years back, my in-laws were selling a house, and the day before closing, they decided to, the buyers decided to get a divorce. They weren't buying the house. Well, I mean, I think my in-laws were like, okay, well, I guess there's nothing I can do with it. And basically the lender wasn't about to, because now neither of them were eligible.
Right.
By themselves. It's ready. So, I mean, but at least my in-laws were like, okay, are we getting the call or not? So it's, is this going to happen or not? So it's one of those situations where, I mean, ghosting is the worst. We know that in anything. Don't break up by ghosting.
Right? Exactly. Don't do that to people, you jerk.
Don't quit your job by just ghosting. Don't get out of buying a house by just ghosting. Not the right.
All right. Well, this wraps up our horror story series, and we'll see what we have for you next week. We don't know what it is yet, so it'll be a surprise for all of us.
Woo!
And if you're an agent, join us on our YouTube channel. For agents, it's under my name. It says Raise the Bar in Real Estate, because that's what we try to do, right, Amy? It was super scary. So agents, we'll see you over there, and everybody else next week.
Have a great weekend.